everyone, welcome to Philadelphia's Magic Gardens. I'm Olivia, and today is our PECO Family Jams workshop. We're coming to you virtually from Philadelphia's Magic Gardens, and we'll be doing that the second Sunday of every month until we're reopened to the public. So today I'm going to show you how to make one of people's favorite activities that we do here at the Magic Gardens. These are called Mosaic Medallions. And if you check out our other video today, I'll be talking a little bit about the Zagar method, how the artist Isaiah Zagar, who's the creator of Philadelphia's Magic Gardens, makes his mosaics. And this is kind of one element of that you can do at home. So you don't need too many supplies to make mosaic medallions, and I'm going to give you two variations. So one, which is the way that we would do it here at the Magic Garden, and the other, which is a little bit easier if you might not have all of the things that we have here. So to make them the simple way, all you need is a clean jar lid, so something like this. I would recommend lids to things like jelly or salsa, but you can also, this is from vitamins, so it could be metal, it could be plastic, it really doesn't matter. It should just be something that is a nice, strong, clean lid, and it should be something that is deep enough that you're going to be able to put some pieces inside of it, and big enough that you can fit some things in. But you can actually do this with things that are pretty small. So one of the lids I have here is just a lid to a juice bottle. That works fine too. We've used really big lids to big pretzel or cookie containers too. So whatever you have to work with is going to be just fine. The other things that you need are white glue. So it can be Elmer's glue, it could be tacky glue, it could be any kind of white school glue, and it doesn't have to be clear. I'm going to be using clear in ours today, but if you're using white, it's going to dry clear, so that is totally fine too. Now, if you want to do the variation that we would do here at the Magic Gardens, then you'll need some sanded grout. And I would recommend white, because what we usually do with the sanded grout is add acrylic paint to make it a color, just like the mosaics that you see here at the Magic Gardens. You see they have these really bright colors in the grout. You can get a similar effect by just using colored acrylic paint and mixing it into that white sanded grout. But I know a lot of people don't have that at home and may not be able to get it right now. You don't need it. If you want to use that, great. But if you don't have it, you don't need it for this. And then the other thing that's really going to make your mosaic are the little odds and ends that you're going to use. So I have a whole bin of things here that we're going to draw from today, but you can use a lot of different things for this. So some things that I would suggest that you might have around the house are beads or buttons. You might have some pasta that you can either just use the way it is, or you could also paint it if you wanted to, which would give it a little extra color. You might have old jewelry, especially beaded jewelry that you might be able to cut apart, or old earrings. Maybe you lost one earring, you kept the other. I know I always do that. Why, I don't know, for art making, I guess. And anything else that you have like that, sort of little pieces, it could be little toys, things that you're going to be able to fit into your jar lid to make this little mosaic medallion. So you want to collect all of those things. And then the way to make this is actually really pretty simple. But one thing that you can do to make this a little bit more special, if you have a drill, and I know a lot of people might not, and that's no big deal. But if you do have a drill and you want to put this on a string, so either you can wear this as a necklace or you can hang it up as an ornament or decoration, then you'll want to drill a hole through your lid beforehand. And it doesn't need to be a huge hole, it just needs to be big enough that you can put some kind of string. We usually use colored yarn, but you can use any kind of string to just string it on there. You want to do that before you start to make your mosaic, because afterwards you're not going to really be able to put it on the string. And if you're drilling through, I would just recommend, unless you are sure that it's going to make a really clean hole, I would drill from the back to the inside. That way, if there's any sharp bits that are left, they're going to be on the inside where you're going to glue everything in, and not on the outside where they can cut someone. But once you have that hole drilled in, you just want to string it and then put a little piece of tape on the back. That's just so that your glue or your grout, whichever you're you're using to put your pieces inside the lid isn't gonna seep out on the back. And you'll be able to take that off when it's done and dry. So if you don't have a drill, you can just use a lid just like this, like I mentioned. And what you're gonna do is, if you're using grout, you just wanna fill the lid. Not too full, but you're gonna put that grout in there. But like I said, we're gonna use the glue today, and the glue is really simple to use. And all you need to do is just start filling that lid with glue. And now there's sort of two ways you can do this. You can either, what I'm doing is literally just filling the entire lid with glue, because it's not gonna dry super fast, and it's also not gonna take me that long to put these pieces in here. But if you want to do it as you add pieces, you can do that. You can also, I know sometimes this glue is coming out really easily. I know the struggle with glue bottles, that oftentimes they're really hard to get out. So another way that you can do this, instead of squeezing the glue into your lid to fill the whole thing up, you could also use a paintbrush and just paint it on. And you wanna go really heavy. You wanna have a good amount of glue here so that everything is gonna stick really well. And you might think that white glue, Elmer's glue, isn't that strong, but it is. We're gonna show from this activity today. So then you just wanna take all of your little bits and pieces, and I like to spread them out on something so that you can see them a bit more, especially if you're doing this with kids, and even if you're doing it with adults or older kids. It's really fun to look through these pieces. That's kind of the best part of this. So I would suggest, we often use a lunch tray like this, but if you don't have a tray like that, you can also use just a plate or something, bowl, that you're gonna be able to add some of those pieces and then sift through them. So once you have your pieces, I would just start picking out things that you like and start gluing them in. And if you watched our other video that talks about Isaiah Zagar's mosaic technique, you'll know that I mentioned in there that part of his process is no mistakes. So that he says, whatever piece you pick, whatever tile you pick to put in your mosaic, that's the right piece, and wherever you glue it, that's the perfect place. So we are going to follow that method in our video today and have no regrets about what we're doing here. So I often tell to little kids, because sometimes what happens is they start putting things in and then they decide, oh, actually I want to move that. Well, the thing that's really hard with this, it's even harder with the grout, but it's hard with the glue too, is once you stick something in there and it has glue all over it, you don't necessarily want to pull it out because it starts to make a mess, especially if you have a lot of other things in there. It's going to start to disturb the other things in there. So once you choose to put something in there, that's it. That's the perfect place. So you're just going to keep grabbing things until your whole piece is filled. And this is something that can be pretty quick, but can also be something that people really like to meditate upon, or you might want to have a whole bunch of lids ready so that you can make a whole bunch of these. You can also choose, you'll see people come up with all sorts of cool ways to do this, so you don't necessarily have to lay everything down flat. You can put things upright. My little piece just fell out, but that's okay. We can fix it, and there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So once you have all your pieces kind of pressed in there, then the most important part of this is just waiting. So I have all my pieces pressed here just as I want them. And then really the hardest thing about this, like I said, is the waiting. If you're using grout, that's gonna take about 24 hours to be completely cured usually. The glue is gonna be a little bit quicker than that, but I always tell people, if you can leave something like this overnight, do it, because you want to make sure it's really completely dry before you try to take anything out. But I promise that everything's going to be really well glued in there then. So here's one that we have that's done. We have some other photos on the website that you can check out of ones that are finished, but the white glue holds really well. Everything's going to be very nicely stuck in there so that then you can hang it up, or you can put a magnet on the back to use this as a magnet, or you could use it as a little paperweight or just some kind of decoration. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, and I'll show you what one looks like with the grout, so you can see the colored grout in there as well, where you're just gonna set those things in there. So again, this is a pretty simple activity, but it's one that does really mimic the process of making a mosaic, where you're taking all of these little pieces, putting them together to make something bigger. And you can do a lot of variations of this. You don't necessarily have to use a jar lid either. You could use some other kind of container to add these pieces into, but that's something that a lot of people have and is easy to do. So we'd love to see what you make. If you want to send us photos of your mosaic medallions that you've made, and we hope you'll join us next month for our PECO Family Jams. Thank you again to PECO for your support, and thanks for watching today. We hope to see you at Philadelphia's Magic Gardens really soon.